Wobat is one of my favorite characters in Invincible. Now, TV show viewers may be confused, but you shouldn't be here. We first meet Wobat as the leader of the teen team, and we don't know much about him. If he's an AI or like an Iron Man, but he seems to help Invincible out, so you don't suspect him much. And you shouldn't. But eventually, Wobat starts catching feelings for Monster Girl. Now, this is weird considering she's in the body of an 8-year-old. Yeah, maybe we should have suspected Wobat earlier of being this villain. But anyways, with the help of the Marvel twins and Lex, he builds himself a new body. And his own one is like a Stephen Hawking, but 10 times worse. And he's now in a child's body. Lex's child's body. So he can date someone else in a child's body.
Oh, yo!
This is now going to be good. Okay. Anyways. Forget that weirdness. But now he can pilot from outside or inside the Wobots. Wobots? Oh, and he goes by the name Woody now, or something. Spoilers. Eventually, Mark gets in a fight with Cecil and begs Wobot for help. Wobot eventually turns on Cecil, showing he does care for Mark and others. But then, a bunch of other stuff happens, and Wexplode dies. The saddest death in the whole series. R.I.P. my boy. And now Wobot goes by the name of Lex, which was a little weird, but nobody really cares. He's still Wobot. Now, at this point, Wobot is a hero. You see him like every other issue, fighting crime and saving the day. Until one day, he's with the Guardians of the Globe fighting the Flaxans, an alien race that attacks Earth damn near daily. So he demands to go into the portal to find their home. Only Monster Girl follows, and at this point, they're pretty close. And together, they kind of like take over the Flaxan world like 5 times. And due to time working differently in this dimension, they can age normally. But they have been living in this world for hundreds of years. Almost 700. And eventually, Wobot's mental state, as you could predict, is a little totally broken. For being alive for this long and starting multiple empires and then destroying over and over again, there's a point where he's a little crazy. There's a point where the old group of Flaxans that used to war are going to be killed or something. And Monster Girl hates the idea, but Wobot doesn't care. He's very desensitized to the idea. So Monster Girl goes and saves them and leaves Wobot to go with them. And this ruins Wobot. Imagine the girl you spent 700 years with just up and leaves you. But eventually she comes back and they're like, oh wait, I'm bored. And return to our dimension and lie and tell them they're only gone for about 12 years. Everything's almost good. Monster Girl is still hitting on Bulletproof. So Wobot's still sad about that. Then the Flaxans return with a big new guy who kind of looks like Monster Girl. Oh, crap. So Monster Girl in a monster form fathered a child from one of the Flaxans, and yeah. Eventually they defeat them, and Wobot's like, oh no, I have no idea. But then it's revealed that Wobot, back in the Flaxan dimension, already knew. And one of the Flaxan guys was like, hey, Monster Girl had a kid with one of this whole species, but we don't know which one. And Wobot's like, kill them all. This is the 4th step in Wobot's villain arc. Next time we see Wobot, he is piloting a bunch of robots, just a whole thing that I'll touch on later. Now, he's saving people from the Guardians of the Globe. He's saving people with the Guardians of the Globe from a massive flood caused by dinosaurs. Another character that I love, but I can't talk about today. To make things quick, Dinosaurs was a bad guy, but not really. But he kind of helps people, but he also kills people in the process. Mark broke him out of prison because he thought they could work together. But now, lots of people are dying, so Wobot is pretty furious and tries to fight Invincible. Monster Girl later makes an interesting remark. Everyone sees Invincible fight dinosaurs and take all the credit. And Monster Girl asks Wobot if he's only mad because he's taking credit. And Wobot gets super defensive at this point. But I want to point something out. He is not a man who acts on emotion. Later, he says that he lacks emotion. He is cold and calculated. And we see this when Invincible asks him to make a portal to find Angstrom. He does, and while they are in another dimension, he quickly kills a version of Mark with ease and chops Angstrom's Levy's head off and tells Mark that he was trapped in the Flaxan world for not 14 years or 7 years. He was trapped in there for 1,000 years before leaving Mark stranded in the dimension. And now, good time to mention that Eve, aka Mark's girlfriend, is pregnant, and he just left him there. Eventually, through a string of events, Mark comes back, and some stuff happens. But eventually, he goes to Cecil to go spill the beans, and Cecil's like, okay. And then Wobot makes his appearance and kills Cecil. Like, straight up, he just kills Cecil. Mark destroys this Wobot droid and runs back to his house and finds a new and improved Wobot with a very pregnant Adam Eve threatening her. And now, before anything else, this is peak design. Wobot looks so menacing, replacing the superhero design with a cold, dark suit of armor that makes him tower over everybody. It's seriously so good. But anyways, Wobot says, alright, last chance. I'm gonna take over the world with you. Are you in or are you out? Obviously, no. So Wobot cuts Adam Eve's leg off. Keep in mind, she's still pregnant. And he tells her to shut up. Like, he just straight up tells her to shut up. Like, what happened to her? Wobot reveals his level of IQ and tells Mark that when he hits his armor, the frequency that comes out is the same one that is damaging to Viltrumites. Basically, if he hits Wobot hard enough, he could die. Wobot throws a bomb down and completely blows up the house with Invincible and Adam Eve, who is still pregnant. Now, cut back to the real Wobot, who's chilling piloting all these new mechs, and is like, well, let the slaughter begin. Like, what happened to this man? He's a menace. Like, he turns so evil so fast, but I'll get to that. Now is probably a good time to mention he is doing all this because he thinks he can do what he did in the Flaxan dimension and save it. But he's willing to do some things he did in the Flaxan dimension. The same thing he did to the Flaxans, to the people in Earth, to get there. A bunch of robots, like robots. He can pilot a bunch of robots. And he's all the robots start messing up the ward, and he kills Black Samson. And I went back and he kind of killed him for no reason, like. And then he finds Monster Girl, aka Amanda, and he's like, "Yo, remember when we took over the Flaxan ward?" And then he's like, "Yeah, let's do it again." Monster Girl sees what he's doing, and is like, "No." And well, we're talking. All of the other robots he's controlling are destroying the Guardians of the Globe. They killed Sapesmith. Why? He didn't do anything, man. So Wobot tells Monster Girl he's sorry and gives her a kiss, and then throws her out into cold space to kill her. But luckily, she's taken in by Omnissa, and she lives. Wobot then shows up to the Viltrumites, and he's like, "Hey, you guys could kill me, but hey, if I control the Earth, you guys can use it as a breeding ground." And they're like, "Alright, sounds good, man, sounds good." Wobot captures the rest of the Guardians of the Globe and goes to talk to Mark one-on-one. Well, I mean, he has a bunch of his robot suits surrounding him, but you get the idea. He quickly gets in one of the suits, too. He's still trying to convince him, Mark, but he's not having any of it. So the conversation ends quickly, and Wobot starts to rule the ward with his army of robots. Anyways, later, Bulletproof, who is on Wobot's side, captures Immortal, but Immortal breaks them out of jail, them being the Guardians of the Globe. Monster Girl and her son fight off a bunch of robots, all very cool stuff. Eventually, they blow some stuff up. Bulletproof got half of his face burned, but Wobot's like, "Yeah, man, get up, come on, you're right." Now our last part. I'm gonna say something a little controversial. I think Wobot is the main villain of the entire Invincible comic. The comics. He stands out. He stands against everything Mark does. He is perfect opposite. Invincible is very emotional and hasty. Wobot is calculated and calm. And he literally fights him after he fights Thwag, which is supposed to be the main villain. Like, I thought he has to be. Anyways, after Invincible defeats Thwag and becomes the Emperor of the Viltrumites, Wobot's like, "Oh, hell no!" Because Mark would probably use them to kill Wobot. So they all start to fight. Everyone turns on Wobot, and he also has, like, it's captive, but, that's not important. Invincible flies up to space with Wobot, like, in his actual suit, like, actual Wobot inside the suit, and they just talk, two of them. Everything they've been through, and it's kind of a good moment, Wobot still tries to reason with Mark and tries to make him out as, like, the victim, and he's like, as an emotional person who's, like, hurt and sad, but we all know this is bullcrap, because we know Wobot is not an emotional person. He's like, he might as well be a robot. So Wobot tells Mark to do what you want, hoping that Mark is still on his side, and Mark punches a hole straight through Wobot's chest, the last villain he faces in the whole series. Eventually, they do take, like, Wobot's brain and stuff, but that's kind of stupid. I don't like it, so I'm not going to talk about it. It's not that big of a deal. That's the end of Wobot. Started out as a superhero who Mark could rely on, and not just as a superhero, but as a friend. It ends with Wobot trying to take over the world. really, I think that Wobot's character was the best character in Invincible. It's just, I'm going off script here, so forgive me if I'm bad. But he stands against everything Mark did. I know Thwag is supposed to be the big, bad guy of everything, but I honestly think that Wobot is much better.